Hello, all my beasties. Welcome to the Lair. How's everybody's day going? How is everyone's day? Anyone still hungover from the Super Bowl? My ribs still hurt for laughing so hard at the beginning of last night's stream. So it's been a morning. It has been a morning. So, yeah, one of those days. What can I say? So, what's everyone up to? We'll give people a few minutes to start trickling in. And while we're waiting, hi, Thomas. Hey, Thomas. Hi, Debbie. Who else do I have here tonight? Today? Whatever this is. Time has lost all meaning. Hey, intellectual. Ardo! Hey, Ardo. Hey, Sin. Patty. Patty, you missed it. As Thomas, we were laughing so hard we were crying at the beginning of last night's stream. It was off the rails. At one point, I was like, "Is Patty here? Because I'm gonna need to make sure she has the inhaler." It we got a little out of hand last night, and by a little I mean a lot. Oh yeah, it was great. How are you, Ardo? I haven't seen you for a little while. I know the time difference makes it all hard. So, Patty, yeah, I know you were in bed sick still, but Patty, I literally was like, I need Patty's inhaler. Let me not pull a Patty and put my drink down before I spit my drink all over my laptop. Yeah, and Thomas has come up with some new products for the tasteful yet tactical line we're gonna have to do. Um, it. Oh yeah, my side still hurt. Sin, yeah, it was fun. It was off the rails completely. The rails we didn't know we had. TB, aloha, aloha, aloha. How are you? So, yeah, Ardo, I hear that's rough. My friend that lives in Sweden said that he's a train like it's rough on him when he hits that time of the year where it's dark all the time. So that's why I could never work in Alaska. I've gotten job offers to go work in Alaska, and I'm like, I can't work someplace where it's dark like 20 something hours of the day. I wouldn't sleep for a month because I'm a night person. It would be bad. And I have enough insomnia thanks to like 16 years of shift work. So, um, let's see. What what else? What else? I have to I'm trying to think of the order we're going to do this in today. Oh, Debbie, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Onion Boy, the rotten onion. Oh no, he's not getting away with this. We discussed this in yesterday's stream. I will find things. I will find everything, all the things. Because what we're not going to do is let somebody like that keep their channel up on YouTube. Okay, great. A documentary came out and they demonetized him in 2021, 15 years after he started grooming children. But he still has a channel. And that's just not going to happen. And I can come up with enough stuff and enough poking and enough being snarky all the way up until a trial if we get to one. And yes, for anybody that missed this part of the discussion last night, hey GB, I have taken to adding him on Twitter while he's tweeting. So I know he sees them. I've tagged him in my YouTube titles. Yeah, no, Debbie, it is far worse than the documentary. I don't know if you listened to me read the complaint where you saw my second day of it, where I talk, yeah, the complaint or the second day where I talk about some of the background on Blair White. Um, but on that note, we can go with the housekeeping about that. Tonight, right now, my stream is entitled Stolen Valor. I announced last night on the channel that I feel a little bad for going after him because he was in the military and that we should honor his service. So we're going to go through his DD 214. And I came up with a medal that we are awarding him as a part of his channel. I have made the decision. Hey, intellectual. I have made the decision because I'm an ass that and I love the military people. We know this. So I have made an executive decision that we are going to start awarding medals and ribbons like they do in the military. And to support the veteran that I was so mean to by reading a lawsuit where he's accused of trafficking minors, he's getting this award. He is going to be the first ever recipient of this award. Right here. There you go. You are going to be the first recipient. I did, we have to we have to take note of it. We have to thank him for his service. Oh, what could I say? So, right now I have the stolen valor thing up. Intellectual, I have seen the Angry Cops piece. I have a friend named Jameson who has a channel, and uh Jameson is a retired Marine, and he broke it all down. Squirrel is a veteran, and he and I were discussing some of it. But the problem is, none of these people truly understand the gravity of and how hard it is to be in the Air Force. So I have an Air Force veteran that's coming to help. Now, there is a slight chance my Air Force veteran, who I adore dearly, who I've known for like 17 years, may be stuck at work tonight. Because I'm not an expert on the chair force. I'm a Marine person. We have one channel member who's in. We have several Navy guys from on the channel that I know here, and then Jameson's a Marine, and Angry Cop is Army National Guard. But we need to understand the hardship of the chair force. We know it is the hardest branch. So I got an airman for us. So, in the event that he does have to work late and can't do tonight, what we're going to do, instead of cover the stolen valor aspect, because I think we really need that Air Force perspective of it. How dare we judge them when we don't know? So, if we have to move the stolen valor segment, we're going through the divorce decree that the idiot wrote, that the judge threw out, because monkeys with a typewriter could have written a better divorce decree. So, we're going to go through that. Yeah, they have a Sunday bar in the Air Force in basic. They have a legitimate Sunday bar. The Marine Corps is like, eat everything in the next 10 minutes, have your plate cleared, and be outside, or you're going to PT till you puke. So, if we don't get to do stolen valor, we're gonna go through how not to write your own divorce decree and how to watch your divorce decree get laughed out of court. Mhm. All the fun. I'm not gonna drop this. I will continue to at him. Yep, yep. So we'll have fun. We're gonna have lots and lots of fun. And Thomas helped. And Thomas being one of our head, we'll take the Disney term, Imagineers on this channel for my Tastefully Tactical line. Thomas is helping come up with some of the new medals and awards we're going to start giving out. Because why not? Because we're snarky and evil, and it's fun. You walked into the lair, you brought this light, and I'm going to bring the sunlight. Best disinfectant, sweetheart. So we have that. Um, if you were not on at the very, very end of last night's stream, I was talking about a gentleman who was on death row. There was severe prosecutorial misconduct, and a lot of what they used to convict him was testimony of co-defendants and bad gun science. So the thing is, the ballistics and the gun forensics make it physically impossible for the gentleman that spent all this time on death row to have done it. And after all of the prosecutorial misconduct and all of this stuff came to light, one of the co-defendants that testified against the guy that put him on death row admitted that he's the one that committed it. So they won a death penalty appeal 7 days before he was going to be executed, and set an obscene bond. It was like $5 million. They got it lower. They were able to get him out. And he was out pending new trial because it was the whole new trial. Well, he was working, and the court had approved him working in Mississippi. Had a job. The court approved it. It was on the up and up. And they re-indicted him with the charges. And they arrested him, put him back in jail. He was able to be bailed out again. And he is in Texas. Hi, TB. So, I was reached out to by someone that knew about his story. And we talked last night. And what we're going to do is we are going to cover what happened in the first trial, his story. And I have been in contact with his family and lawyer. And we're going to exchange some letters and discussions and things, and we are going to cover the bad gun science, and we're going to follow him to his retrial. So there's that coming up. We all kind of voted on that one last night. Um, Intellectual, I don't want to ruin it, but one of the tiny little tidbits is the prosecutor had a side hustle. That side hustle was that he was clerking for the judge in the case while he was the prosecutor on the case, and the judge was the judge. So anything the defense brought up, everything got thrown out. It was a lot of bad. Yeah, intellectual, that one. So the gentleman has been re-indicted on felony murder. We are going to go through it, and like I said, I've been in contact, and we're gonna go with that one for a little bit. What else do we have? I have reached out to Repzion, Blair White, Jacqueline Glenn, and several others about the Onion Boy stuff to bring them on. So that's happening. I have an update on the 6-year-old who shot their teacher that we talked about. But that one, I have to get a date from her. A friend of mine is a PhD in psychology, and she specializes in forensic psychology and counseling. So she's going to join us and she's going to talk about the psychology of this 6-year-old and the things that have come out. She's also going to talk about um, some of the psychology, some of the other cases. Like everyone's saying, I don't see why this person's mental state did that. I don't think someone who has this, we have a PhD in forensic psychology coming. So my girl will be, I'm waiting on a date from her. She'll be here. And I think that's most of the housekeeping. I don't know, guys. Is there housekeeping I'm missing? I am going to give this disclaimer on this stream. It doesn't really apply to this stream. It only applies to tonight's stream. We are probably going to start getting more trolls in the chat because of Onion Boy and his stands, especially in those streams. If that starts happening, I will change this to subscribers mode. So you have to be a sub to the channel. My mods know, and you guys know what I tolerate and don't tolerate. And people will be dealt with accordingly. You know, if somebody's being problematic, it'll be dealt with. I have also extended an invitation to Onion Boy. Hasn't answered. I don't think he will, but we'll see. Maybe if I'm relentless enough. Maybe if I'm mean enough, he will. To tell me, because he claims that lawsuit is 2 ex-girlfriends that are just big mad at him, and that it's all a lie and he is innocent. So I told him he'd feel free to come on the channel. We can debate and you can correct me and tell me how I'm wrong. He hasn't answered. We'll see if he does. So there's that. I don't know. I don't think we need to cover anything else on that. So let's cover some gun stuff. Let's do it. Oh, Debbie, you control them in my chat. My chat rules, as everybody knows, are no ad hominem strawman attacks. Like, I don't care if someone looks like a hippopotamus. There are very few people I will condone name calling for in my chat. Yes, I do call him Tweedledum and Tweedledummer, but that's because of behavior, not looks. I'm not a huge fan of attacking someone for their looks or something they can't help. We don't do homophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, and that kind of stuff in my chat. And we have respectful arguments. You can argue, you can disagree, you can express your feelings, but act like a, normal human being. Oh, and no blaming victims like the Onion Boy's trying to do. So, that all being said, let's pull up our first story. We did Oregon last night. Let's start with this one. Nobody cares about murder. Arizona rancher being held on $1 million bond. He fired warning shots at armed men, and the armed men pointed an AK-47 right at him, the defense is claiming. George Allen Kelly has been charged with first-degree murder in the shooting of Mexican national found on his property. An elderly Arizona rancher charged with murder and held on $1 million bond in connection to the shooting of a man believed to be a Mexican national on his border property allegedly fired warning shots after an armed group pointed an AK-47 right at him, his defense attorney says. George Allen Kelly, age 73, who was charged with first-degree premeditated murder in the January 30 shooting of a man who authorities believe to be 48-year-old Gabriel Quinn Waitama? I don't know. Based on the Mexican voter registration card he carried, had completed chores on his ranch near Keno Springs earlier that day, and came to his house to have lunch with his wife when he heard a single gunshot as they ate. Kelly's court appointed attorney Brianna Larkin wrote in a recent court filing obtained by News Digital. Kelly saw his horse, who was old, running away scared at full speed. The filing says, finally, he saw a group of men moving through the trees around his home. They were armed with AK-47 rifles, dressed in khakis and camouflage clothing, and carrying large backpacks, Larkin wrote. None of them were known to him. He had not given them permission to come onto his land. Because he was understandably concerned and reasonably feared for his safety, his wife's safety, and the animal's safety, he called the U.S. Border Patrol Ranch Liaison, specifically assigned to aid people living on the borderlands, to report what he had seen and to summon immediate help. Telling his wife to stay inside, silent and away from the windows, he went onto the porch with a rifle. The leader of the armed group of men saw him, pointed an AK-47 right at him, Larkin wrote. Mr. Kelly, fearing for his life and safety, fired several shots from his rifle, hoping to scare them away from him, his wife, his animals, and his home. As he shot, Mr. Kelly took care to aim well over the heads of the armed group of men. The group began running into the desert surrounding his home. Once the group had fled, Mr. Kelly walked over to his barn to see if it was safe and secure. The filing notes that Kelly had a second conversation with the Border Patrol ranch liaison that ended at approximately 2:36 p.m. Even though Kelly reported he'd heard a single shot and the men he had seen were armed, the liaison incorrectly reported that Kelly stated he could not tell whether the men were armed or not. The radio dispatched to the Border Patrol agents en route to the property at approximately 2:40 did correctly report that the armed men had been seen in the area. While Kelly was checking his barn, a number of Border Patrol and Santa Cruz County Sheriff's deputies arrived at the property and encountered Kelly, who indicated to them he'd seen a group of armed men near his house, the filing says. Deputies also made contact with Kelly's wife, who indicated she had seen armed men carrying large backpacks near the house. Border Patrol agents and sheriff's deputies walked all over his property but found no one, the filing says. They also used various cameras to try and locate the men, but were unsuccessful. Law enforcement then left. As the sun was going down later that day, Kelly went to the pasture to check on his horse, still concerned the horse might have been injured in the incident. Noticing the dogs he took with him were focused on something on the ground near a mesquite tree, Kelly approached the area and observed a body lying face down in the grass. He then called the Border Patrol ranch liaison a third time to report the discovery and request assistance. When law enforcement arrived, Kelly helped them find the body and cooperated with the investigation, according to Larkin. The investigation found the body was that of a foreign national who did not have any firearms or a backpack on him. The cause of death appeared to be a single gunshot wound and appeared the body was fresh. The person had a radio with him and was wearing technical boots, indicating he was probably involved in illegal activity. The defense attorney added that it remains unknown what kind of bullet caused the fatal wound, what was the time of death, how long the body had been there, or when and what position the person was in prior to receiving the fatal wounds. In an interview with law enforcement, Kelly admitted to firing warning shots at smugglers earlier in the day, but he denied firing any shot directly at a person. He does not believe that any of his warning shots could have possibly hit the person or caused the death. All of the shooting Mr. Kelly did on that date of the incident was in self-defense and justified. Kelly and his wife have lived on their property outside of Nogales, Arizona for more than 2 decades. The Daily Mail previously reported that the federal records show the gentleman had a history of illegal border crossings and deportation in and around Nogales, with the most recent one documented in 2016. Judge Emilio Vasquez had not has not granted Kelly's request for reduction of his $1 million bond, despite the rancher pleading that his wife was left alone on their property and is unable to attend to their livestock. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 22nd at the Nogales Justice Court. Mr. Kelly's years as a law abiding citizen and the uncontroverted facts of the case give us confidence in his innocence and our ability to prove that innocence should the state continue to prosecute Mr. Kelly, Larkin said in his statement. GoFundMe booted all campaigns set up to raise money for Kelly. Fox Digital confirmed the Christian crowdfunding platform GiveSendGo has allowed a fundraiser for Kelly to remain. It has garnered about $250,000 as of midday Sunday. So, thoughts? Let's see. Hey, Caroline. Intellectual, I will check that out. Cookie, you leave my inability to sleep out of this. I also might be on my third Alani energy drink because this Cosmic Stardust one tastes like sweet tarts. It's amazing. And I consume an unholy amount of caffeine. Real fluky internet, but it's Comcast. Yeah, pretty much, Caroline. Uh, TB, no warning shots. Yeah, but in no warning shots, and that's going to be what hems him up to a point. But with his age and being that he was outnumbered, I understand it a little bit more. But I'm going to follow it if I'm going to see if I can get into the hearing on the 22nd. I don't know if it's going to be televised. But we will keep up on it and we will follow it. I will reach out to his public defender as well. Hey Becky. Jerry, hey everyone. Can't stay longer waiting for your ride to PT. Hi. Do the like and subscribe thing. Yes, thank you. Jerry, will you be on later tonight? Jerry, later tonight we're having a read Onion Boy divorce decree and make fun of people stream. You'll have to let me know if you're going to be there. Becky, I'm not exactly sure which one that is. If you send me the information on it, I'll look at it. And if it's something I feel I can cover, I will gladly cover it for you guys because I'm here and the Lair's here to cover what you guys want to hear. Yes, the majority of it is firearms based, but it is also self defense based. And to me, Onion Boy's thing is self defense because his preying on children, it's self defense. We need to protect people. So there. Yeah, Debbie, just message me and Becky, message me the stuff so I know, or I'll try to look into it and we will cover it. Yeah, I take issue with all of these. Do I know a rough time? Jerry, I have it scheduled at 8 o'clock. If you go look on my channel page right now, it is up and already scheduled. I put them up this morning. I'm trying to get my streams up like 12 to 24 hours ahead so you guys have time for notifications. TB, my EKG on energy drinks, funnily enough, it's normal. My cardiac issues have nothing to do with caffeine. And amazingly, when I was pregnant, the doctor told me not to stop my caffeine habit because I consume so much caffeine and I have for so long after 16 years in public safety, law enforcement, and all of that, that I would actually withdraw from caffeine and it could be harmful to pregnancy. So I slowed down on the caffeine while pregnant, but I didn't quit it. And I can say when I was pregnant, if I ate coffee, ice cream, or was drinking coffee, my little person would settle down and go to sleep. Otherwise, she'd be bouncing around in my belly the entire time. The only way you could get her to sleep or stay still, and any female who's been pregnant knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you can't sleep because they're up and bouncing around, that's the only way I could get her to sleep. I'm sorry, TB. No, TB, you can help me cover the rancher thing. I'm not. I understand you can't, but you at least Texas. Did you? I know you heard the complaint. We're gonna be making fun of him primarily while we cover some of his stuff. And if it's something you can't do, I understand. But hey, I may end up coming down to Texas for this murder retrial. Should be interesting. No, Debbie, I think I spend more on caffeine than you would on a prescription for Ritalin. I'm bad. So now we've covered our Arizona rancher. Let's look at other gun stuff. Mm, ah, this jackwagon. Pennsylvania man sentenced to up to 30 years in prison after pleading no contest to shooting the police chief. Before anyone asks, yes, I know the police chief. A Bucks County, Pennsylvania man was sentenced 15 to 30 years in prison last week after pleading no contest to shooting a police chief in 2021, according to reports. Fox station WTXF in Philadelphia reported that Colin Petrozelio of Yardley pled no contest to attempted homicide of a law enforcement officer, attempted murder, aggravated assault, and other charges. A no contest plea is not admission of guilt, but is instead acceptance of the conviction based on evidence against the defendant. Petrozello. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Petrozello was accused of shooting a shotgun at Yardley Police Chief Joseph Kelly August 18, 2021, during an offender check at the Commons condominiums. The chief suffered injuries to his hand and ear. A Bucks County parole officer went to Petrozelli's condominium to conduct an offender check, reported a domestic disturbance. Kelly responded to the domestic disturbance, and when he approached the home, Petrozelli fired a 12-gauge shotgun through the front door. After shooting the chief, he barricaded himself inside the apartment with his mother. After more than an hour into the standoff, his mother called police, said the son had fallen asleep. She then tossed the shotgun out of the window and exited the home. An emergency response team reached the house and took Petrozelli into custody, according to police. He was also allegedly in possession of a loaded .45 caliber handgun with a second loaded magazine. He was charged with the attempted homicide of a police officer, 2 counts of attempted murder, 6 counts of aggravated assault, assault of a police officer, and other charges. Can you say dumbass? Jerry, I have a whole bunch of Rippets. That's like a military favorite. Debbie, I will be in Florida for more than one thing. I will be in Florida for more than one thing. Um, let's just address this idiot first. Don't shoot people through the front door. Um, you need to know what you're shooting at, for one. For two, how much of a badass are you that you shot someone through a door, barricaded yourself in there with your mother because you live in mommy's basement, and then fell asleep in the middle of a SWAT standoff? Sir, if there is a SWAT team and a SWAT standoff outside of my house, you sure as shit can believe I'm not taking a nap. Really? You couldn't find some pixie sticks or you fell asleep? What? I don't like how? Ooh, look, SWAT standoff. I think it's a good time for a nap. Um, okay. That's gonna end well. Jerry, I know the feeling all too well. I had 9 screws in my hip and I had to learn to walk again. And I'm taking my dad to the spine surgeon tomorrow. Yay! You're right, called. They're 2 minutes away. We will have a great day and stay safe, and we will see you tonight, Jerry. Yeah, Nick, life requires caffeine. I have several t-shirts about my obsession and need for coffee and caffeine. I actually have a coffee maker in my bedroom. I have a Keurig on my nightstand. I love my coffee so much that I don't feel like going downstairs in the morning before my shower. So I have a coffee maker here. Oops. Yeah, Becky, like I said, my little one liked coffee when I was pregnant. It settled her right down. And, you know, yes, for all of you, I don't generally. Uh-oh, what did I do? What is this thing doing? Why is. Oh, that works for right now. No, it doesn't. Uh-oh. Hold on. Uh, nope. Oh, no. Oh, wait. If I do this, does it help? Guys, hold on. I'm trying something. There we go. Hold on. I need a sip. Give me a second. Okay. Um, life requires coffee. Oh, yeah. The nightstand coffee maker is a game changer. Uh, yeah. Becky is another one of our cancer warriors. And again, we all got this. Debbie, you need a shoulder replacement. You'll have to let me know how that goes, Debbie. I know a couple of really great shoulder surgeons. Where are we? Intellectual Zip Fizz. Yeah, you know what? I cannot tolerate Zip Fizz. I hate it. I got it at Costco when it first came out, and it and I do not get along for one, and for two, I just don't like how it tastes. But what I drink it's called Alani Nu, and it is actually one of the healthier energy drinks. It's got, biotin and B12 and all of the other stuff. But it's got, vitamin B, B12, biotin, good stuff. It's a lot cleaner or less nasty than like Red Bull or Monster. And so I live off of those. They also make pre-workout. Alani Nu's line. They have, protein shakes, protein powder. They're meant for people that work out. So their energy drinks don't carry a lot of the garbage you see in Monster and Red Bull because it's meant for people that work out, which I don't do unless I have to. Yeah, Debbie, sleeping sitting up kind of sucks. You cappuccino maker's Keurig. Becky, the Alani Nu ones are really good. There's a reason you're cooking. There's a reason my espresso machine's in a different room. Yeah, no, I have one downstairs in my kitchen, but I have a single cup one on my nightstand. Hold on, where was this one? Becky, for my mom? What's wrong with my mom? Um, hold on. That's the brand of energy drink right there. Debbie the Winter Soldier. That'd be awesome. Debbie, when I had my major knee surgery, the doctor's like, yeah, if you just want a knee replacement, the recovery is easier. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll take the harder recovery. Garden of Life. Yeah, I can't do that one, Becky, but the Alani Nu ones, this brand, um, like their fit shakes and their meal replacement stuff, they're really good and they don't mess my stomach up. Debbie, what for your knees? I mean, if you want to see a doctor that's not in Florida, I can tell you who to see. Oh, I have to take my dad. Becky, my dad. My dad he had some pretty severe arthritis in his back and disc herniation. So a few years ago, he just had a decompression and like a decompression laminectomy. And then about a year and a half later, it got bad again. So he had a laminectomy and decompression 2 more levels up, and it's fused. So 3 of the vertebrae are fused. But now he has developed a bone spur, which is irritating the sciatic nerve, making it hard for him to walk. So I'm going to take him to the um, neurosurgeon tomorrow. Um, are they less thick? Oh yeah, way less thick. I like the fit shakes that are in the bottle. The chocolate one is amazing. They have chocolate, vanilla. They have one that's called Monster Munch. It's like pretzel chocolate chip cookie. I don't know. They're all really good. They have a cookies and cream one. They're good. Yeah, they're not that thick. They're like slightly less thick than instant breakfast. Nick. Septoplasty back decompression. Ugh. Hiatal hernia surgery sucks. I had that. So, um, I do have to say, someone asked me the other day saying, and I know I don't share much. I do have a genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos on top of my cancer. It means I'm Gumby, so I tend to destroy joints. Hence why some of the surgeries. I can destroy joints like nobody's business. But yeah, TB, I may come down to Texas for that. I'll probably come down to Florida. My cousins live in Florida. My small person wants to go to Disney. So I'll be down to Florida. Okay, let's find our next gun story because I have an entire list of all the gun stories that we didn't cover last night. Hmm. This we're gonna save that one for last because this is funny, but we'll do this one. This one pisses me off. This next one makes me big mad. Fair warning. ATF document shows zero tolerance guidelines for shutting down gun stores. Hmm. The guidance says the ATF can use inspection reports to establish willfulness even if the inspection finds no violations. No. No, ma'am. Wait. Let me see. I didn't care about Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden. I don't want Joe Biden. Go away. I have to see if I can find this document. Internal documents from ATF show zero tolerance guidelines the agency is using to shut down gun stores. Fox News Digital exclusively attained the ATF's FFL inspection guidance from January 2022. It makes it easier to revoke gun stores' federal licenses. The guidance says the agency has zero tolerance for the willful violations that greatly affect public safety and the ATF's ability to trace firearms recovered in violent crimes, and that revocation of the FFL's license is the assumed action with violations. Therefore, revocation is the assumed action unless extraordinary circumstances exist. When violations are cited that include transferring the firearm to a prohibited person, knowing or having reasonable cause to believe the transfer is prohibited, failing to report a background check, making false or fictitious written statements in or applying for the license. The guidance defines administrative action as a warning record, warning conference, revocation, imposition of fine, and suspension of the license, including a recommendation of denial of an original or renewal application and alternate action. According to the documents, ATF must establish willfulness to proceed with revocation under federal law, but the agency doesn't have to establish a history of prior violation to determine willfulness. Accordingly, ATF will revoke an FFL absent extraordinary circumstances on initial violations if those violations inherently demonstrate willfulness, such as transferring a firearm to a prohibited person, failing to run a background check, falsifying records, making false statements, failing to respond to an ATF trace request, refusing to permit ATF to conduct an inspection or allowing a straw sale of a firearm to occur. Oh, look, here it is. Guys, I'm going to read this document because it's super, super long. I will read this document later and I will do a dedicated on this because they can bite me hard. Hmm. Yeah, I know, TB. Like, I have an FFL, so it makes me mad. Oh, and just FYI, the reason I pushed the stream back 15 minutes is because I was like, oh, time to stream. And then in true Stephanie fashion, I was like, oh, brown sugar bubble tea. And I had to go get my boba because I'm a toddler. So, let's see. Let's get on. That's so annoying. ATF needs to stay in their lane. Mm-hmm. Ah, we have a FAFO situation. Oops. Armed civilian who shot at armed intruder on a military base is the spouse of the highest ranking Air Force NCO. Ron Bass is a retired Army Ranger and husband to Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Joanne Bass. Oops. The husband of the Air Force's top non-commissioned officer fired a warning shot and scared off an intruder who entered the military base with a weapon this week. We appreciate the outpouring of support we received after this incident, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Joanne Bass said in a press release. I can confirm that my husband, Ron, was involved in a safe thanks to the quick response and professionalism of our security forces airmen. Initial reports only noted that the intruder had been fired on by a base resident, but it wasn't until later in the week that Ron Bass, retired Army First Sergeant, was identified as the resident. The intruder remains unidentified. The man gained entry to Joint Base Andrews in suburban Washington Monday, reaching the housing area at 11:30 a.m. Ron Bass shot at the intruder, which stalled him until base security and law enforcement apprehended the man. A resident discharged a firearm. Security forces arrived on scene to apprehend the intruder, and law enforcement is investigating the incident, Air Force Joint Base Andrews said in an email statement to Fox News Digital. No injuries nor property damage was reported. CMS Joanne Bass is the senior-most enlisted member of the U.S. Air Force, tasking her with overseeing the morale and welfare of more than 600,000 airmen, including 263,000 active duty enlisted troops. The 90th person to hold the rank, Bass, who advises the Air Force Chief of Staff, is the first woman to serve in the role. Thank you, Miss Bass. Social media users criticized the base for staying quiet for hours following the incident. The Air Force Times reports officials have not revealed the man's motive for entering the base, but an investigation remains ongoing. The base has had a few breaches in the last 2 years, including a man who gained entry in February 2021 and gained access to a C-40 before he that two C-40, not a C-40. Okay, C-40 isn't singular, but okay. The base, which is home to the fleet of Blue and White presidential aircraft, identified 3 points of security failure throughout the incident. Human error by a gate security guard, a gap in a fence designed to restrict access to the flight line, and open access, allowing the intruder to walk on and off a parked airplane. Perhaps the most egregious incident occurred in March 2022 when a 17-year-old male with a gun drove onto the base after ignoring commands to stop at the main gate. U.S. presidents use Joint Base Andrews as their chief departure point. Don't go onto military bases with guns. Um, it's a FAFO situation. There's plenty of uh, armed people. I can tell you, living at Lejeune and frequently being at Lejeune, 29 Palms, and a bunch of the Marine Corps bases, you have to declare your firearm. It doesn't civilian. It doesn't matter if you're enlisted. You cannot take your firearm onto the base. Now, if you live in base housing, You may own a firearm, but let me tell you, the regulations for it and the hoops you jump through are insane. Insane. So, it's like Fafa. Where could I go with a gun? I'm gonna go to a military base full. Really? Okay, because that makes sense somehow. I don't. What is this? From Nick. UK NHS. Yeah, universal healthcare has its problems. If you know how to navigate it, it can be a little bit easier. But knowing the back channels and truly how to navigate it can be really hard. So, next. We did Oregon yesterday. Okay. So this has come out about the Tyree Nichols murder. And I was interested in this one. The union, they fired the EMTs because they didn't get enough information in the Nichols response. Union said fired EMTs did not receive enough information during the Tyree Nichols response and murder. The head of the union, representing most of the Memphis Fire Department, say 3 employees who were fired after the death of Tyree Nichols weren't given enough information as they responded to the call for medical help. Thomas Malone, president of the Memphis Firefighters Association, also wrote in a letter to city council members that the information was withheld from those first responders by people on scene. Nichols, who is black, was beaten by Memphis police after he was pulled over January 7th for an alleged traffic violation. However, police chief C.J. Davis has said publicly released footage failed to show why Nichols was stopped at all. We are going to scroll right past that picture. The union leader came to the defense of the fire department as a whole, saying its more than 1,600 employees serve the city and citizens with purpose and intent every day. The Daily Memphian reported on a published copy of the letter, which says there's no any member could truly be prepared for a situation like that of January 7th. Our members were not given adequate information upon dispatch or upon arrival of the scene. Quite frankly, there was information withheld by those already on scene, which would have caused our members to handle things differently than they should have. 3 fire department employees were fired after he died, and all 13 police officers had been disciplined or are under investigation for their roles in his death. 6 were fired, 5 were charged with murder, 2 sheriff's deputies are suspended. 2 of the former fire department employees, EMT Robert Long and advanced EMT Jamichael Sandridge, had their professional licenses suspended by the state medical board. The Whitaker State Medical Board. Lieutenant Michelle Whitaker was the third employee let go. Her license was not considered for suspension, and the state EMS board members commented more actions can follow. We're going to right past that picture. So, the Memphis City spokeswoman Arlene Nicole told the Daily Memphian that all 3 former fire department employees have appealed their firings. Fire Chief Gina Sweat, that's an unfortunate last name, especially if you're a fire chief, has said that the department received a call from a police officer after someone was pepper sprayed. When the workers arrived at 8:41, Nichols was handcuffed on the ground, slumped against the squad car. Long and Sandridge, based on the nature of the call and information they were told by police, failed to conduct an adequate patient assessment of Mr. Nichols. The statement said Whitaker remained in the vehicle with the driver during the response to Nichols' beating. They said, let's go right past that picture again. An ambulance was called. It arrived at 8:55 p.m. The statement said an emergency unit cared for Nichols left the hospital with him at 9:08, which was 27 minutes after Long, Sandridge, and Whitaker arrived. Nicholas died 3 days later. And an investigation determined all 3 violated multiple policies and protocols. They were reacting to what they saw and what they were told. Obviously, they did not perform at the level we expect the citizens of Memphis to serve. Before suspending the licenses, the state EMS board watched 19 minutes of surveillance video that showed the 2 first responders as they failed to care for him who couldn't stay seated upright against the side of the vehicle, laying prone on the ground. EMS board member Sullivan Smith said it was obvious even to a layperson he was in terrible distress. Yes, this is absolutely insane. He was very in need of medical attention. and that is straight complacency. So let's see. Yeah, intellectual. It is administrative hell. Um, why mention he was black, but not mention the race of the cops or the medics? I don't know, TB. The cops, all but like one were black. I don't know the race of the medics. I would have to look into it, but it doesn't really matter. As a medical provider, none of that matters. Um, Debbie, they shouldn't appeal. They should be fired. What are the protocols? I can pull the protocols for you if you'd like to go through them. I mean, if you want my paramedic opinion and we can go through the protocols, I'll gladly give you it. But no, Debbie, they deserve to be fired. He was not, his level of consciousness was very obviously decreased. His, being oriented was non-existent. He could not sit up on his under his own power. He kept falling over, sitting on the ground. They didn't even bother to take a blood pressure or a pulse or listen to lungs. Nothing. Debbie, nope to what? I'm confused. Debbie, fill me in. Nope to what? Miguel, I am not. I do not. I am. I have no plans for Valentine's Day. I will be streaming with Beasties. I will be here talking to my Beasties. Probably eating pizza. Um, so if they weren't given enough information, how can they treat Debbie? They didn't even do a patient examination. They did zero patient assessment. None. They were told he had been pepper sprayed. What they weren't told is that he had the ever living daylights beat out of him by all the cops. So when they got there, he was sitting there leaning up against a police car and they never even bothered to get out of it, out of their rig. They literally didn't even do a patient assessment. They did nothing. Sounds like conspiracy between cops and responders. Intellectual, it's not a conspiracy. They just are being lazy. They didn't. It's not even duty to care to triage. You have a duty to assess the patient as an EMT. Um, you know, let me see if I can find really quick the protocol. Yep, here we go. Mm, Let me pull up the protocols for you guys. 1 second. Okay, where are we? Let's. Uh, uh, okay. mm, where is it? Okay. So, let's see. Would have been a medical emergency. Hold on one second. Yeah, it would be unconscious, unresponsive, altered. Maybe it would be 316. I'm trying to figure out which one it would be. At the very least, it would be 300, so let's pull 300. $117, really? Oh, that's 610, stretcher transport. Physical restraint. Where are we? Okay, we're getting there. Let's go. Come on, 300. Where are you? Ugh, I hate states like this that do their protocols like this. It's the most annoying thing ever. Here we go. 300. Medical complaint not specified. So if we're going to go with not specified, we'll go with this. So we had an EM. So they needed a pertinent history to the complaint, allergies or meds, provocation, quality of pain, discomfort, was it relieved, signs and symptoms, onset type and duration, oxygen and airway maintenance appropriate for the condition, patient positioning appropriate for condition, supportive care, pulse oximetry. They don't have that. They had an AEMT there, so it would be check the blood glucose and start fluids if needed, and then you need to call a paramedic. That was for the unspecified. Let's see. I think this is the altered syncope. Altered is right before syncope. So then he would have been also considered altered. So is he unresponsive? What are his vitals? He's not responding appropriately. Assess for head trauma. Assess for H's and T's. Oxygen, airway maintenance. Assess for the underlying cause. Pulse ox, glucose, IV, sugars, Narcan if indicated. Yeah, they did nothing. It's TB. The reason I differentiate between assessment and triage is because in the pre-hospital world, I know they send you to triage like when you get to the hospital, but out of hospital, triage follows NIMS, the National Incident Management System, and triage outside of a hospital is deciding what patients are going to get care and in what order. It's not like when you go to triage in an emergency room and they take your vitals to decide how sick they are. So in the pre-hospital world, you do have to designate between scene and triage of multiple things and patient assessment. That's the only reason I correct the wording, because pre-hospitally, they have different meanings. Miguel, are you asking if is this you? Are you asking if that picture is me? Yes, that picture is me. And if you go look at my channel, feel free to join it. We love having you. Come join the beasties. You will see all the pictures. Go look at my Instagram. There are lots and lots of pictures of me. And yes, that is what I look like. And later tonight at our 8 p.m. live stream, I will be on camera with makeup on, looking like a person with my hair down. So you can see me in person tonight on the screen. Looks like a Brandon mind map. Yeah, no, they didn't even bother with vitals. It doesn't matter what they were told. The only thing that would have changed if they said we beat someone unconscious is they would have sent a paramedic to go with the EMT and the advanced EMT. That's all that would have changed that. A patient assessment would have fixed a lot in the situation. Hey, Caroline, you can lurk and gish. It's always good. Debbie, it is a hard job. I know I spoke about it with like the school shootings and stuff. It's hard when I show up on a scene and I have 100 patients, but I have 6 helicopters, 6 helicopters, 12 ambulances, and I have like 50 patients. Because you're literally deciding who lives and dies in some situations. There are situations where you tag them and are like, I'm not even going to give you medical care because the likelihood of your survival is lower than the likelihood of this person's survival. And it's a really crappy part of the job. So, now that we've talked about lots of gun stuff and some stupid, let's go with a palate cleanser, guys. Yes and no, E.E. Caroline. We can talk about that in a minute. This triggers me. This next one triggers me. Pennsylvania toddler freed by firefighters after getting head stuck in cake pan. Okay. Pennsylvania toddler was in over her head earlier this month after playing with a cake pan got her into a tricky situation. Mom Erin Maxwell told Fox TV station she was working from home on February 6th when her 2-year-old daughter Quinley in the room when she heard the little girl yell, Mommy stuck, Mommy stuck. She looked over to see her with an angel food can pulled completely over her head. She thought she could wear it as a hat. And there's the little person. Okay. Maxwell said she tried to free the pan but was unsuccessful. With the dad at work, she called local firefighters. She called the fire station, got no answer. She called 911. She was sitting there eating M&Ms, drinking her sippy cup, watching cartoons. She had the pan down enough it looked like she was wearing a shawl. I know an operator called the fire department who sent the firefighters to remove her pan hat. They used tin snips to cut it in 2 places. After it was off, she was mad she didn't have her hat. The toddler went back to playing like nothing ever happened. That triggers me. I'm sorry, because that's something my child would have considered. Yeah. But you know what the sad thing is? I can't tell you how common calls like that are. The places I have found people stuck or things I found stuck with people or the shenanigans. I know I've told you guys some of the stories are just what? Like we need to chlorinate the gene pool with some of these. I've been there where we had to take a claw machine apart to get a toddler out of the claw machine. Because yay. So, I hate having cops around of any medical emergency. Uh, Caroline, I know a lot of EMS providers and firemen that are like that. I don't know if it's because I work with police most of the time or just because of rapport. They don't really bother me, and in a lot of places, they don't want to be there. And so, especially like on psych calls, they'll just like nope out of there. Or they'll wait till EMS gets on scene to even show up. Or they'll try to turf the call to EMS. Last Criminal Minds episode, I covered FBI agent told paramedics not to med him for pain. Debbie, there actually is something to that, and you and I can discuss that if you would like on your channel. There's more to it than that. Caroline, we can debate that one day. We could debate that one day. How, poor baby, did they get stuck in the claw machine? They opened that little door thing and climbed in. We're standing there playing with stuffed animals. I've had people stuck between buildings. I've had a kid in a claw machine. I have had heads between banisters. I'd have had body parts stuck in pool suction drains. I have had some with their hand nailed to the wall. Um, I have had people stuck together during adult fun time, courtesy of piercings. So, I don't know. Paramedics ought to be armed. Caroline, one day you'll have to come join me on the channel. We can discuss all of this. Certain states do allow armed EMS, but it's a big discussion. Kids are resilient. Yeah, Debbie, my little one surfed down my cathedral. I have a cathedral entryway with like a stairway that has a turn. She surfed down it standing in a laundry basket. She also tried to go down the stairs like an otter and smacked her face off my slate floors and broke her front teeth. Um, and then got up and kept going. My child will stand on the back of the like at the playground where there's a fireman pole and you can't reach it because she's little. She'll just jump and hope that she catches it. So I don't know. She you know, I have no clue what all of this is. Hold on. Guys, hold on one second. I gotta give me 1 second. The person in possession of my tiny human has bringing them her home from school. Yeah, Debbie, there are meds that can be given to addicts. Like I carry Toradol, but it depends on the state. Depends on the state and depends on your medical director's guidelines. We also have IV Tylenol. But yes, no, my child will jump off of things. She thinks she's on like American Ninja Warrior. She doesn't care if she can actually reach something. She'll just take a running start and jump and hope that she makes it. So, I don't know. But what I am going to do is I am going to sign off for right now. I am going to say, as usual, be safe, all of my beasties. You know I love you all. Get in touch with me if you need anything. And I will see you guys at 8 o'clock tonight, where we make fun of our special snowflake. Can't wait to see you there. I love you all, beasties. I'll catch you later.